Caitlin Clark, please leave this league and let it crumble. Please, this league does not deserve you.
Low earth to Kathy Engelberg. Are you going to step in and do something about this trash that's going on? Players are getting assaulted on the floor.
Who needs the refs when you've got Sophie? This wasn't some heated post-game press conference or back and forth on social media. Nope, it all started before the game even ended. In the locker room, Sophie Cunningham posted up like she had just seen one of her teammates get jumped in the parking lot. No quotes, no PR filtered responses, just vibes, and not the good kind. The kind of energy that makes you ask, did someone just get disrespected, and is Sophie about to throw hands for it?
I feel good, and Sophie Cunningham put me out on a high note, folks. I didn't even say, Ben, calm down.
Because once Sophie clocked the nonsense happening to Caitlin Clark on the court, JC Sheldon clawing at her, Tina Charles in her face, and Marina Mabrey literally sending her flying, Sophie didn't wait for the officials to grow a spine. She stood up, and when Sophie stands up, the whole league feels it. This wasn't just about basketball anymore. This was about loyalty, about respect, and about how long one player was willing to let chaos fly before jumping straight into the fire. The moment Sophie decided enough was enough, the tone shifted. It wasn't let's play ball anymore. It was touch Caitlin again and I will become the storm. The play that lit the match? Straight up reckless. JC Sheldon gets up in Caitlin Clark's face and swipes her across the eye, not just a graze, an actual poke. Clark tries to push her off, but Sheldon won't back down. Then here comes Tina Charles, wagging her finger like a scolding aunt at a barbecue. And just when you think it couldn't get more ridiculous, Marina Mabrey comes flying in like a linebacker and chucks Caitlin to the floor. It was chaos with a side of what the hell just happened.
We see Caitlin Clark on the receiving end of something, and it's not called correctly. In fact, she gets a technical foul after getting poked in the eye and then shoved to the floor, and Marina Mabrey doesn't even get thrown out of the game. It's basically open season on Caitlin Clark, and the special whistle that she supposedly gets goes in the other direction. Flagrantly so. They got to put it to an end. I mean, she's the most valuable player in the league in the most literal sense. And somehow she gets the opposite of superstar treatment.
But before the refs could even figure out who to whistle, Sophie Cunningham entered the chat. And not quietly. She didn't hesitate, didn't look at the scoreboard, didn't ask for permission. She just moved. From that second on, the game was no longer a game. It was a battle zone. You could feel it shift. Players paused. Coaches froze. Even the fans in the building knew Sophie had just flipped the switch and somebody was about to get bodied.
Literally about a minute and a half into recording this reaction earlier, with 1 minute left, and all hell broke loose between JC Sheldon and Sophie Cunningham, and it is very clear the Indiana Fever, some of these girls on this team are finally fed up. Finally fed up. Once again, WNBA, we're not talking about your basketball. We're talking about the WNBA, WWE Raw circus that you got going on.
It wasn't about plays anymore. It was about principle. See, most players wait for a whistle, some complain to the ref, others just let things slide. But Sophie Cunningham, she skips all that and activates like a one-woman security detail the second she senses smoke. When Caitlin Clark hit the hardwood, Sophie didn't flinch. She stormed in like someone just threw shade at her little sister. And this wasn't emotion, this was mission mode. She didn't come off the bench, she came off instinct. Sophie was on a mission to shut it all down. The hard fouls, the sneak hits, the passive-aggressive glares. Her presence alone became the warning. Opponents didn't just have to deal with Caitlin's range and footwork. Now they had Sophie's heat-seeking loyalty coming at them full speed. And she wasn't talking, she was handling. If Caitlin was the crown jewel, Sophie was the armored vault guarding it. No extra words, no rehearsed drama, just pure, calculated protection. By the time the refs remembered they had whistles, Sophie had already made her ruling, and it came with a stare that said, "Try that again."
Like, come on, bro, Caitlin Clark could have really got injured right there, y'all. She could have really got injured by these haters, these jealous, hating players. They just jealous and hating, bro. She didn't even get ejected.
You would think after a face swipe, a floor slam, and a sideline near brawl, the refs would start acting like it was their job to control the game. But nah, they pulled out the softest penalties in the rule book like it was a charity scrimmage. Caitlin Clark, who literally got poked in the eye and tossed to the floor, somehow gets hit with a technical foul. Marina Mabrey, not ejected. JC Sheldon gets a flagrant one like she accidentally spilled a drink. Tina Charles, just a tech for the finger wag, that's it. Nobody got tossed, nobody got held accountable. It was like watching a storm roll through and the weatherman says, it's just a breeze. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham is out here doing what the officiating crew refuses to, laying down the law. You could feel the crowd buzzing, not just over the drama, but because Sophie was clearly the only one willing to say, enough. She didn't wait for a review, she was the review. She enforced justice like a player with zero time for PR and even less for nonsense. The league let it slide. Sophie did not. Sophie Cunningham isn't just intense, she's surgical. Every movement, every stare, every shoulder nudge has a purpose. She doesn't need to scream or flex, her presence is the warning label. She plays like someone who's already watched the game in her head 5 times and decided exactly where to apply pressure. It's not reckless, it's refined chaos. Opponents don't just play around her, they adjust to survive her. She's that rare kind of player who doesn't need the ball to control the tempo, she controls it with her vibe. Step to Caitlin? Boom, Sophie's already in your airspace. Think about setting a hard screen. She's waiting for you like TSA with a badge and a stare. There's no friendly competition here. She's got one mode, protect the franchise and dismantle any disrespect in the process. And what's wild is, this isn't even new for her. This is muscle memory. The league hasn't seen this kind of energy since the days when players looked like they were about to bounce you out of a nightclub, not walk into yoga after practice. And now, Sophie's turning every gym into her court. From the moment Caitlin Clark stepped into the league, she didn't just carry hype, she carried a target the size of Indiana. Rookie of the month, please? More like rookie most hunted, and not just by defenders trying to test her skills, but by whole rosters moving like it's open season.
All this hate from these black people, all this hate from these lesbians, these people in the media, just go play basketball somewhere else. Your fans will follow you. We will follow you wherever you go. But let this shit crumble and burn to the fucking ground, man. Let the viewership drop below 50%. Let them lose hundreds of millions of dollars again, man. Let them go back into fucking irrelevancy. Nobody giving a damn about none of these players. Just leave.
Cheap shots, cold shoulders, off-ball grabs. Clark's been absorbing it all like a pro. But then came Sophie. While the league was busy watching Clark's highlight reels, Sophie was watching everything else. Every off-camera bump, every passive-aggressive elbow, every so-called hard foul that looked more like a hit job. And she took notes. When the fire came for Caitlin, Sophie didn't just react, she shielded her like she's been waiting her whole life for this mission. Sophie became the one player who wasn't here to ride the wave, she was here to punch it back. Every push Clark took came with a price, and Sophie made sure that price was paid in full. Because if Caitlin is the future, Sophie's the one making sure she actually survives long enough to get there. At this point, Sophie Cunningham isn't just protecting Caitlin Clark, she's rewriting the rules of engagement. You don't even have to touch Clark to feel Sophie's heat. Just thinking about getting chippy triggers a warning in your brain like, you sure about that? She's turned deterrence into an art form. One step toward Clark, and suddenly the air changes, players hesitate, coaches hold their breath, and even the crowd leans in like, uh-oh, she saw that. You know how certain animals have those bright colors to signal danger? That's Sophie's face when she senses foul play, and it works. She doesn't have to throw hands, her reputation does it for her. It's not intimidation, it's insurance. You foul Caitlyn, you're cashing in on a full-blown Sophie response, and it's not loud or sloppy, it's precise. She's playing chess while the rest of the league is still arguing over checkers. Every game she steps into now has a new rule. If you want smoke with Caitlin Clark, you better be ready to take on Sophie too. And nobody's rushing to be that brave or that dumb. Sophie Cunningham didn't ask for this role, she became it. In a league where elbows fly and refs look the other way, she's the one player who showed up with a spine of steel and a try-me glare that could crack a backboard. This wasn't about putting up points or making SportsCenter. This was about drawing a line in the hardwood. You touch Caitlin Clark, you answer to Sophie. Period. No fine, no tech, no social media backlash is going to change that. The league might call it aggressive, fans call it real, Sophie just calls it Tuesday. And here's the wild part. She's not doing this for attention. She's not chasing headlines. She's enforcing a code. And now that code echoes across every arena. Caitlin Clark is off limits. And if you didn't know, now you do. So if Sophie made you raise your eyebrows, if you caught yourself yelling "let's go" from your couch, or if you just appreciate someone out here holding the line when no one else will, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and drop a comment before Sophie beats the algorithm to it, because this era, it's not just Caitlin's, it's Sophie's too, and she's bringing the thunder,